This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Icon Podcast. I'm your host, Gianna, and special thank you to our sponsor, Sphere Rocket VA, for connecting me today with Brian. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, excited to get to know you. So take us back to the beginning. Who's Brian? Where are you from? How'd you get into real estate?
Absolutely. So my story is oftentimes like what you hear with most in the conversation, that real estate probably was not a priority or was not a point to go to. It was more of kind of leftover. It was the thing that kind of fell into. So graduated college, went down, worked in the Texas legislature, really wanted to get into a lobbying career. And that just fell into a morality question. I just didn't want to do that, just didn't fit. So ended up switching, came back to El Paso from Austin, and real estate was an easy entry. I had some family that were in it and kind of scaled and grew. About 12 years ago, right before my daughter was born, I decided to open up a team, have scaled that, currently have right now 13 agents on my team, total about 26 people on my team, and we scaled out. We'll hopefully do about 650 in transactions. So that's the flashbang version.
That's awesome. That's a great story. It's a great quick introduction. And Brian, how did you get introduced to EXP? What's your story about hopping over here? Was it your first brokerage? Did you get recruited?
No.
What's the deal?
So I actually owned a brokerage. I owned a Century 21 franchise for the past 10 and a half years. I followed the model that most people did. They get into sales, they start doing well in sales, and then they decide, hey, the brokerage is the next option. So I did that. And I was paying a franchise fee at that point to the substantial note of about $180,000 my last year. Even though I owned the brokerage, I was still paying $180,000 just to have a brand that was losing steam left and right. I am good friends with Jay Kinder. We've known each other for 9 or 10 years. He helped me get into a lot of other programs, and he had reached out to me 3 or 4 years ago when EXP had kind of come to top of mind, and I told him it was going to crash and burn. 3 years later, I made that decision. I said, it's something I got to do. It's something I got to pull the trigger on. So it took me 3 years to commit. Took me 6 days to move. So, yeah. And to move, I had to sold off my brokerage. I had to do a lot of things. So it happened very fast. And I was also moving a lot of production and a lot of details over. I think our transference over was 100 pending transactions at that time. So it was a headache, but it worked. And now we're 12 months in, and I think we're at 13 months in, and it's been best 13 months in my real estate career, to be honest.
Well, awesome. That's great, Brian. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So now that you're over here, you've been here for about 13 months. What keeps you at EXP? What makes you say, like, I'm never leaving this place? It's got stock options, collaboration, rev share. What sticks out to you, Brian?
So the key is that I've always thought the process of how do I create not only a sustainable business, but how do I create value in that sustainable business? And in my attempt, it's the diversification of revenue streams. So the beautiful thing about what EXP has offered is it's offered multiple revenue streams. Listen, EXP gets a negative rap because we're all recruiters, but the reality is I've been recruited by KW, I've been recruited by Remax, I've been recruited by all those companies. The difference is it was a manager or a recruiter doing it before. And the reason was because those were the ones getting compensated. In our model, we now have the opportunity to get compensated for bringing in people into the company. That's huge. Mix that into the fact that I was paying 6% to Realogy anyways. Now I can take 5% and get a discounted stock option with that 5%. So I'm getting something for my money going out. And then last but certainly not least, I get to put all that cap that I put in, I get that opportunity to come back by offering what I find a passion in, and that's helping others. So I can help others and get paid for it and go on conferences and get paid for it. I mean, that's kind of common sense. It makes, so much sense that it's crazy.
It all does. And monetarily it's just awesome. The numbers work out in your favor here at EXP. And Brian, before we dive into the Icon Award a little bit more, I want to know about you and your work-life balance, right? So how do you make sure that you are chasing a version of work-life balance for you and avoiding burnout mode and being able to provide your best self facing your clients and team and family?
Yeah. So that's where it stems back to that 12 years ago. My daughter turned 11 on last Monday. And right at 7 months after we found out that we were pregnant, I made the decision that 12, 13 hours wasn't realistic anymore. I couldn't pull the hour base that I was doing. I wanted to spend time with my kids. I was raised in a household with my stepfather and my father. They were both the hardest workers I know, but I also never saw them. And therefore, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to have good work ethic, but I didn't want to lose the opportunity to hang out with my kids. Flash forward to today, I have a thriving team. I own multiple thriving businesses. And in that respect, I get to pick up my kids every day at 3 or 4 o'clock. I take them to all their practices. I go to all their games. So my work-life process is that I don't live to work. I work to live. And that's key. I mean, I take a couple weeks of vacation a year. I make sure that my business is sustainable for that purpose. And EXP has offered now a new solution that now I can now create that for my team as well, because they have the opportunity to scale and grow other revenue streams, which is kind of a benefit. Mix that into the fact that insurance comes into play, and that's a huge opportunity.
Absolutely. I love that, Brian. And like you said, the building your own schedule and being able to be involved with those kids and their sporting events, that's a huge perk of the industry. Yeah. And good for you on establishing that for yourself. So Icon Award, that's why you're here. You're an Icon agent. Let's talk first about production, but we'll keep the numbers simple. If you even know this number, some icons don't, and that's okay. But about how many houses in your area do you have to sell to hit Icon, Brian?
Yeah, El Paso is the lower end of market. So in our market, it sits between about 28 deals and 32 deals, depending on what area you're functioning in. So obviously to hit that 80,000 in GCI, that can range between that 8 and 12 deals. So yeah, right in that range.
Okay, awesome. And then it's more than just production to become an Icon agent. You have that cultural commitment. So whether it's mentoring, coaching, teaching an EXP world, vetting other icons, there's a lot of avenues you can take. But Brian, what do you choose to do as far as your cultural commitment to EXP?
Yeah, so I offer in my own downline the mentoring in my own say. I don't pull any detail off of that mentoring program, so I offer that. So I didn't decide to go the mentoring option. I decided to go more the route of presenting and teaching in EXP world. That was just a better value for me because I felt that one, this is kind of self-fulfilling, but I got info out of it too, right? So when you're sitting in these icon conversations, you're sitting around people from around the country that are successful. And if I can grab a little piece of information off of what they're doing, and whilst at the same time getting a benefit and supplying a benefit, that was value for me. So that's what I've elected to do. And I'll be honest, so remember, this is my first year in, so my first year icon, and I'm a mega agent icon team, so I had to do a little bit extra to make sure that I achieved that. But at the end of the day, what it ended up value adding for me is that over the last, so I think I've done 6 of the icon conversations and a couple of EXP World conversations, and I probably have retained way more value than even the 16,000 in stock that I'll get back.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool to hear, Brian. And it's just, I don't know, the Icon Award it's got so many perks to it, and you get a nice, shiny, big glass trophy, and you get your cap back in stock, and the option to go to EXPCon and shareholders, and even be paid to go there. So it's technically a getaway that pays for itself. And again, getting that cap back. So Brian, with all those perks and benefits, what has been your favorite part of iconing? What makes you say, I've got to icon again and again and again?
would say the best value is that you can show it to others, right? You can prove the concept. It's not just something that is talked about. It's something that can be tangible. So showing that opportunity is where I find, once again, my passion falls into showing others what they can do. The money part has always been kind of the easy part for me, in the respect that if you work hard, you're going to get paid, right? The hard part was trying to translate that out to other people. And now that I have a tangible, I can bring it up on the screen and show them what happened and how it happened, is a value add to me.
Absolutely. I love that. And Brian, I'm going to put you in a little bit of a scenario here. And just as an icon agent, giving advice to some rookies or maybe people that are new to EXP and have been in the game for a little bit. Yep. But let's say I'm a new real estate agent, haven't even written an offer letter yet, and I'm with EXP, I'm licensed, all is good, and I'm coming to Brian to talk about my goals. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't even written an offer letter yet, but I want icon my first year. Is that, achievable? Where are some mistakes that you may have fallen short from iconing or almost missed the mark? And, how do I set out on such a, I guess, bold goal?
Yeah. So I think it's well within achievability. Most of my team members all hit that. They've all exceeded that 30-ish transactions per year in my market, and it's definitely achievable in other markets as well. I think the key is knowing what your goals are and repeating those, and rinse and repeat every single day. If you know what they are, if you know where you're aiming, I'm a big fan of Ben Kinney, and Ben Kinney is in a competitor company, but at the end of the day, he has a very good statement. He says that every starting agent that comes into his company has to make 1,000 dials, because he says that if you make 1,000 dials and you get 1,000 no's, making 150 dials every day is no big issue. And that's the key, is that we're going to go through a lot of failures. But if we just get ourselves back up and dust ourselves off and fail forward, we'll always win.
Absolutely. That's a good point. And for the rookies watching, lean into your mentors, lean into people like Brian, ask them for advice, raise your hand if you don't know the answer to something. And you're going to find that this culture that EXP has built and fostered is going to cater well to people that are trying to learn and get better and, shoot for the stars.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Brian, for my last question, as we're creeping up on 15 minutes here, is going to be about those that are on the fence about EXP. So were you ever nervous about making that jump, or when you saw the model, were you like, well, this is it?
No, absolutely. As I mentioned, it took me 3 years to even make the commitment to have a conversation. I believe EXP is something that once you see it, you can't unsee it. Yeah. But it takes a while to figure out, to put on the right goggles to understand it. Oftentimes we feel like the grass is greener on the other side, only fertilized by an explicative that I don't know if I'm supposed to say on the show. So, but the reality is that not only is the grass greener on the other side, but it's a collaborative effort of everybody succeeding together. That's really key. So it did take me some time. It took me 3 years, and in that I had to have a heavy pain point to make the move. Yeah. All I would suggest is, for those out there listening, don't wait for the heavy pain point. Don't wait for spending $180,000 to make a mistake to figure out that this is a better route. There is a reason that we are, eclipsing 80,000 agents. When I came in 12 months ago, we were at 40,000 agents. We have literally doubled the size, and that's proof in the sauce, if anything else.
Crazy. Success leaves breadcrumbs, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, Brian, I think it's been an awesome episode and has a lot of valuable content about you, your story, and just, about joining EXP. If you're nervous about it, I mean, you had your own brokerage. That's crazy. And you're over here and you're thriving. You're doing a really good job. So congratulations on your high risk and your high reward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Of course. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with as we wrap it up today?
No, just simply make sure that you don't hold back just because you're scared of what might be the opportunity. Listen, we always have transactions that are in the queue. If we're waiting for that transaction list to end, it will never end, or we hope that it will never end. So therefore, there will never be a perfect time. Sometimes you just got to pull the trigger. Like I said, it took me 6 days to make the full move, and it was terrifying. It was a great resource.
That's awesome. Brian, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story today. Hopefully we'll catch you in Dallas next weekend, but if not, keep an eye out for me at Shareholders and EXPCon.
Super. Sounds great.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.